Today we're talking about an awesome effect that you can get using your drone. It's called the Vertigo Effect. So essentially this effect is a push in and pull out at the same time. It comes from the Hitchcock days when he made a movie called Vertigo, and there's a specific shot that people always reference where the camera is physically moving in and zooming out at the same time. It's called a push-pull or a dolly zoom. So essentially how this shot works is that your camera is physically moving a dolly move, forwards or backwards, and then the lens itself is zooming in or out. So you pushing forward with your camera, but then zooming out. And what happens is there's a perspective shift, and it gives you that really kind of cool, dramatic effect. Now you might be asking, well, how do you do this with a drone? Because our drones don't have zoom lenses. And that's because what we're doing is we're kind of faking this effect. So when you do a proper dolly zoom or vertigo effect, you're essentially changing the perspective. And when you're using different focal lengths, there is a perspective that changes in the background. The overall image will look flatter the longer your lens is. That is just something that happens with lenses. When you go on a longer focal length, the image will flatten out. So your background gets closer and all the individual features look flatter. So when you're zooming and dollying between a wide and a long lens, you get that cool perspective shift where you're actually seeing the curvature of everything in your footage on the wide lens, and then it transitions to being very flat. Now to emulate this effect, we can get something that's similar, but it's not gonna be the same type of dolly zoom. Basically what you're doing is you're physically moving the camera forwards or backwards, and then in post, you're zooming in or out of the footage. And this works with your drone if you can shoot at 4K. So the beauty of shooting at resolutions that are higher than HD is that you can punch in on your footage and not lose resolution. So if our timeline is an HD timeline and we're shooting 4K footage, we can punch in 200%. So it gives us a lot of range to zoom in on the footage. So to create this dolly zoom effect using a drone and not zooming your lens, what you're gonna do is you're going to first get the drone up in the air and you're gonna fly forwards or backwards. And I highly suggest moving faster rather than slower, because when you fly faster, the effect will be more prominent and it'll be more dramatic. Okay, so now you got cool footage of either flying forwards or backwards. Let's bring it into the editing software. I'm using Final Cut X, and what I can do is zoom in on this footage. So this shot in particular, I'm flying towards the coastline. So what I want to do is start zoomed in at 200%, and then as the drone flies forward, I'm gonna zoom out to 100%. You're gonna keyframe that zoom, so it's going to gradually, over the course of the shot, as the drone is moving forward, you're zooming out. And then that's how you create your dolly zoom effect. You're doing it all in your post software by zooming in on the footage itself. And that's it. It's super simple to create a dolly zoom. Now personally, I don't like to stop there. I like to do other things with the dolly zoom. So one of my favorite shots to do is fly the drone towards a subject or away from a subject, but also be rotating around the subject. The trickier move to do, you have to be flying in two different directions, forwards or backwards, and then left or right at the same time. But what happens is you get this parallax shift going on in the background as you rotate around a subject, and then you're adding that dolly zoom on top of it, so you get this really cool dramatic effect that looks really unique in your footage. So guys, I highly suggest you check out the dolly zoom effect, play around with it yourself. Go fly a few different scenarios. So fly forwards, fly backwards, try to do some additional movements with the forwards or backwards, maybe go up or down to the side. Play around with the different ways that you can move a drone in the sky. But one of the things you gotta remember is that to get this effect, you have to move forward while zooming out or move backwards while zooming in. That is the key to get the dolly zoom. And last, make sure you just try different speeds. Do it slow, do it fast, and find the speed that works best for you and what speed you like most to get the effect that you like. All right guys, that's it. If you're new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. There's a lot of awesome filmmaking tutorials. I've got a lot of reviews, some cool travel vlogs. Also go down in the description below. I've got a link to my online creator film school. You're gonna wanna go check this out. I give you step-by-step everything that you need to think about and you need to do to have a career as a filmmaker or a creator. All right guys, that is it. I'll see you on the next one.